Are you ready? Well, here we go. It's time for the next Fantastic Four adventure. And this time we have an old and yet new opponent because it's Klaw, the murderous master of sound. Okay, so we've seen Klaw before, but not in this form. He has gained superpowers that enable him to trap the fabulous Fantastic Four. All right, so this is the cover photo, but we don't get to claw the enemy right at first. Instead, we're going to find Sue Richards looking for her husband. Though the world may call him Mr. Fantastic and acclaim him as the leader of the most famous superhero team on Earth, to a certain lovely young lady, Reed Richards is merely an errant, that is missing, husband who hasn't been spending nearly enough time with his new bride. And so we find Sue Richards barging into one of the many labs atop the Baxter building as our Titanic tale begins. And so she walks in and she says, Reed isn't here either. Honestly, if he thinks I can keep a roast just cooking forever, oh, there's his new vacuum cleaner. Wow, look at the size of that vacuum cleaner. Man, that's a lot bigger than the one that your mama has that is a robo vacuum cleaner. I don't think this one would even fit into your living room. But she says from the dust on it, I'd say he hasn't touched it in days. What on earth can be urgent enough to keep him from that? Sometimes I think I like it better when some supervillain is menacing us. At least I get to see that brand new husband of mine when that happens. Whatever made me fall in love with a dizzy, dedicated do-gooder? Okay. And I do love that big, wonderful guy. If only we could live like other people, just for a little while. But I suppose it's too much ever to hope for. I've looked all over. The only place... Oh no! The warning light is on in the space-time room. I didn't dream he'd be in there. Look, it's the space-time research. And she says, I've got to contact him. I'll use the Visi phone, all right? So this is back in the days when it was really unusual to be able to see and talk to somebody at the same time. And so she contacts the space-time room and says, Ben, you're in there too. But it's so dangerous. Where is Reed? Has anything happened to him? Tell me, Ben. I must know. Take it easy, kid, says Ben. He's okay, but you can't bother him now. It's H hour. H hour? Ben, wait. Don't break contact, please. Sorry, Susie. I gotta. Stretch may need me now. Don't worry, lady. I won't let anything happen to that walking rubber band. Click. He turns it off. And then he says, Reed, get back, you blamed idiot. There's something in there, and it's coming right at you. Wow, look at this. Here's a giant screen, and look at that monster. Don't worry, Ben, says Reed. It can't break through the temporal field, at least not yet, but we've got to learn what it is. We have to know the full extent of its power if we're ever to make subspace safe for exploration. Nuts, you can buy my share of subspace for a plug nickel. Any hunk of geography that has yeks like that floating around ain't for the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. Don't you realize how urgent this is? How much depends upon it? Yeah, there's a It's a gigantic screen, isn't it? And what an ugly monster flapping around in there. Subspace is a vast unknown universe containing the answer to a million age-old questions. Yeah? Give me one, for instance. Have you forgotten the Inhumans, Ben? Trapped behind that unbreakable negative zone? Crystal is still in there, and poor Johnny will never be the same till he's found her again. I want to help him, Ben. I yet may find an entrance through subspace itself. And then Thing realizes, and all this time, the kid thinks you forgot all about him. He's out trying to find her himself. I haven't forgotten. It's always on my mind, just as I've never forgotten about you, old friend. I'll never rest till I've found the formula for changing you back to your normal self again permanently. Thing says, I'm all shook up, Stretcho, but just between us, I'm beginning to feel like this is my normal, lovable self. Hey, now what are you doing? I'm trying to get that apparition on film for future analysis. Quick, record any sounds it makes. And so he's got his gigantic video recorder, and the Thing's got a sound recorder. All of this can be done by one little small phone now. Times have changed. It's a blasted ham. Listen to the racket it's making now. Eeeeeoo! No, Ben, that's not from the creature from subspace. It sounds like some sort of sonic boom. Watch out for the shockwave. Wow. Now he tells me. And on the roof of the FF headquarters, a merciless, humorless chuckle rings out. Ha ha, they're trapped. I've sealed them inside their laboratory with an unbreakable wall of solidified subsonic waves. Zit! Well, we know who that is. It's Klaw. They never expected to be menaced by Klaw, the master of sound again. They thought they had destroyed me in the heart of Africa. You remember that story. It wasn't that long ago when they defeated Klaw, but he jumped into his sound converter. Let's listen to the rest of the story. I emerged from my sound converter far stronger than ever before, thirsting for revenge. The Black Panther might now be anywhere on Earth, and if he is with the Fantastic Four below, then they will all perish together. Well, we're going to leave the Fantastic Four and Klaw at the Baxter Building in New York, and we're going back to the Hidden Valley with the impenetrable dome and the Inhumans. All right, on the other side of the world, behind the awesome barrier, which imprisons the teratological Inhumans, whatever that means, we hear these words. Black Bolt, what's happened to Black Bolt? He screamed for the first time since he lost his voice. He screamed, but why? It's clear to me now, says Gorgon. He used his great powers to drive the Absorbabomb against the barrier, hoping to shatter it at last. But he suddenly realized that we would be destroyed along with the barrier due to the energy he had built up. Only that one life-saving scream could have defused the bomb in time. And Crystal says he saved us all, but at what cost to himself? And Karnak adds, that means we still are trapped, no closer to freedom than before. And Medusa says, if Black Bolt had died, then life would have held no meaning for Medusa. So, they're carrying Black Bolt from where he had passed out from the power of his scream. That accursed bomb, it almost caused the death of the greatest most wonderful man in all the world. I'd rather be trapped here forever than have Black Bolt sacrifice his life to set us free. Whit! And so she sends out her magic hair to grab the bomb. Suddenly, the insane cackling of Maximus, the mad brother of Black Bolt, cuts through the air like the sound of a knife blade scraping along a blackboard. Ha 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 ha! A most noble sentiment, Medusa. A pity your beloved cannot now hear you. There is a way through the barrier, but only Maximus knows the secret. It was you, evil one, says Medusa, and you alone who created the dreaded dome. And then she thinks, we must not let him torment us. The secret is lost forever within the twisted recesses of his afflicted brain. You all call me mad, Maximus the madman, and yet only I know how to get through the negative zone. Only a madman knows the answer, but I'll never tell. Black Bolt defeated me. He took away my crown, my throne, so this shall be my revenge. You're all trapped here with Maximus forever. Medusa says, but Black Bolt spared your evil life. If not for him, you'd have been slain for treason. But you cannot kill me now, retorts Maximus. Only I know the secret. Get out, out, you craven, soulless, murdering fiend, as Medusa uses her hair to toss the bomb at Maximus. Whit! Even the mercy of Black Bolt won't save you for long. Sooner or later, our patience will reach the breaking point. Sooner or later, you'll be made to pay for what you've done to all of us. No, no, none may harm Maximus. I was born to be king, born to rule. King, king, king. What a snot. It was your insatiable lust for power that drove you mad, that keeps you mad. You'll never be king while Black Bolt lives. Do you hear? Never. Not if we remain trapped here forever. Then she thinks, what has happened to us? We once were happy here in our hidden land. We never should have left. With Maximus gone, the scarlet-tressed beauty turns away, unable to speak, ashamed of the tears welling up within her sorrow-haunted eyes. We should never have entered the world outside, or let the outsiders come here, but now it's too late for anything. Our whole world is in jeopardy, and there's no telling how it will end. Well, it's going to have to end later, right? Because now we're back at the Baxter Building in New York. And look, there's Klaw peering in at the window at Sue Richards. If you think the Inhumans have trouble, let's return to our frolicsome foursome once more. And as he looks in, Klaw thinks, the flaming member of this accursed quartet is missing, but I have separated the girl from the other two by means of my unbreakable sonic wall. Now all I need do is capture her. She will make a perfect hostage for me until they deliver the Black Panther so that I can destroy him. Thus, all I need do is shatter the glass inward with a simple sonic thrust. Splang! Sue realizes it's a sonic blast. We're under attack. Luckily, I threw up my invisible force field in time to shield me from the flying glass. But who can it be? Whoever it is, I've got to hold him off while Reed and Ben are in the space-time room. Do not fear, Mrs. Richards, sneers Klaw. I have no wish to harm you, so long as it does not prove necessary. Sue asks, who are you? I, replies Klaw. I am a dedicated enemy of the accursed Black Panther, and since the Fantastic Four have chosen to be his friends, then Klaw, the master of sound, is your enemy as well. Klaw, realizes Sue. Of course, but we thought you had perished." "Not so, my lovely. Wait, what is this?" Ah, and he feels the force field. He says, "I have heard about your strange powers, about the unseen force field, which is your greatest weapon and greatest defense. But alas, it will not serve to protect you from my sonic powers." "Why are you here?" asks Sue. "What do you want?" "Revenge is my goal. Revenge against the one who has ever frustrated my plans for conquest, for ultimate supremacy. Revenge against the Black Panther and against any who seek to aid him. It was he who destroyed my laboratory in the land of the Wakandas, who destroyed the fruits of years of labor, years of toil." And so there we come to the last panels of the story about Klaw, and he's surrounded by the rubble of his lab. He says, "It would take me another lifetime to replace my equipment by invincible weapons, but I'm not beaten yet. I'll still find a way to make mankind grovel at my feet. I'll still be master of all," because you see his sound converter is still operating. "My sound converter still possesses a glimmer of energy, perhaps enough for one last transformation. There is a final experiment, one which I never dared to make, one challenge I never dared to accept. I never learned what would happen if a human altered his own basic structure via my sound transformer." And so he leaps into the midst of his machine. And what will happen? How will he transform? Look, he says, "If I survive, I'll emerge with powers far different from those ever possessed by mortal man. Powers enough to enable me to destroy the Black Panther, and after him, anyone else I so choose." And you see the sound converter is converting Ulysses Klaw into Klaw, the master of sound. And here he is in all of his scarlet glory. "Needless to say," he says, "I did survive, but I did more than merely survive. I have become the most powerful being on Earth. My physical structure is now composed of solidified sound, sound which serves me as a weapon, far greater than any ever known. But enough talk. It is time to prove my power with deeds, not words. First, I shall apply a mild form of vibration pressure against the force field which seems to surround you." Zzz. And she thinks, "We needed all our own power, plus that of the Black Panther, to defeat him the first time, and now he's infinitely stronger. He's merely toying with me, but what happens when he exerts maximum pressure against my force field?" And then he says, "In case you're waiting for Mr. Fantastic or the grotesque thing to speed to your rescue, you are doomed to dismal disappointment. They are already trapped within their lab by a simple wall of subsonic waves. Reed and Ben trapped in the space-time room. Oh no, no!" In her despair, her frantic concern for the man she loves, and for their oldest and dearest friend, the tortured girl loses control of her force field for one fateful second. And then, "Come back, you female fool!" shouts Klaw. "Flight is useless. You cannot escape from my sonic vibrations. I've got to find a way to help Reed and Ben, somehow." Klaw says, "Promise to surrender. Promise to assist me in trapping the Black Panther, and I'll remove the vibrations. Give me your answer quickly." "Never. Even my life is less dear to me than loyalty to those who trust me." And she reaches into the drawer and pulls out a gun. She thinks, "If I can just fire the neuro stun gun before he can stop me." But Klaw says, "I see that gun, but no weapon can harm the master of sound." "It has to stop you," says Sue. "It has to. It can shock and immobilize the nervous system of any living human being. Fatoof! Perhaps it can, retorts Klaw, but you have forgotten one thing, one vital fact. I am no longer a living human being. I am a form of sonic life with power greater than any you have ever known. And so Klaw has no nerve system to shock and immobilize, and so he just absorbs the neuro ray gun. Now do you see? You cannot hurt a sound. I can magnify any force thrown against me and feed it back at my attacker, deadlier than ever. Zoosh! And so he absorbs the power of the ray gun and just sends it back at Sue. But no matter how powerful a foe may be, keeping Mr. Fantastic and the ever-loving thing as helpless prisoners is never quite as simple as it may seem. So he's in with his weapons, testing them up against the barrier. I've tested all the walls, Ben, and there's only one explanation. The entire lab is completely sealed by some sort of vibration barrier. Well, says Thing, cook up some kind of anti-barrier gizmo and let's get out of here. It's not that easy, old friend. It ain't. Then stand back, Stretcho. Maybe I ain't as flip with the $20 words as you are, but there's nothing that can keep bashful Benjamin anywhere when he wants out. Scrunch. So he pulls up this machine. You've been saying that you wanted to swap this oversized transformer for a new model anyway. Ben, hollers Reed, stop, hold it. You don't realize what you're doing. Wait, listen to me, Ben. As if Ben ever listens to Reed. He says, relax, lover boy. You can tell me what I did wrong after we get out of here. Besides, how come it's always me who don't realize what he's doing? You trying to give me a complex or something? And then Reed says, I just remembered we fought someone with sonic power only recently. If there's a feedback... Whoosh! Speaking of feedback, Thing says, you and your big mouth, you put a blasted whammy on us. And sure enough, the feedback hurls debris right back at them. I tried to warn you, Ben, says Reed. I knew we couldn't overcome the feedback. All right. So maybe I ain't 100% perfect. Go on. Call me a dumb lowlife. I got it coming. Never say that again, Ben. You're the greatest partner a man could have. And don't think I don't know it. Rats, said Thing. I like it better when you put me down. I'm more used to that. But anyhow, what do we do next? What do we do next? What will they do next? How can they fight against a sonic villain like Klaw? It seems like sound can bounce every force right back at them. And so we won't find out how they defeat Klaw until the next time we have a Papa video. All right, so y'all hang on, and I'll be back with the rest of the story real soon. All right, love y'all.